Hey everyone, welcome, and hope you're having a fun day at the first day of the conference. It was nice to chat with many of you to understand why you're here and what you're planning to learn. And one thing that has come out from all the conversations is we have figured out where and how to store the data and across all the different storages that are available. And one big challenge that we're trying to solve is how do we make this data available for everyone across the organization. If this resonates with you, can I have a show of hands? So see, oh, that's good. Okay, you've come to the right place. In today's session, we are going to talk about Amazon DataZone and the capabilities it offers. Amazon DataZone is a new data management service that we announced at re:Invent last year, and it has been generally available since October 4th, 2023. And what Amazon DataZone does, it helps you build this active metadata layer across your data, so every user across the organization can get to the data portal. It's like a data marketplace of sorts where they can find, understand, and subscribe to the data that they want to use for their analysis. I am Priya Tirutani, Senior Product Manager with Amazon DataZone, and with me we have Leo and Gwen joining me to share some of the details that we want to talk to you about on Amazon DataZone. All right, so what are we going to talk? First, let's take a look at why data catalogs and how it has evolved over time. And then I'll dive a little bit deeper into Amazon DataZone and specifically on the enterprise business data catalog capabilities. And then we'll see how it actually works in the product. And finally, we'll have a customer story where we'll hear from Gwen about how NATA is trying to build a solution where it's trying to make its data available across all of the users, and then we'll have a few minutes left for Q&A. All right, let's see where data catalogs started. I think 1990s, 2000s, we all had data catalogs. It's been there for a while, and predominantly it started where companies wanted to keep an inventory of data. They wanted to know what data existed, and usually it was tasked with the IT teams just to know what data is available. And it was more a passive collection of data to know what's there. And then came the big wave of big data in 2010. And this bombarded those data catalogs with data that varied in speed, size, formats, and accuracy. And this challenged those data catalogs in a way that it couldn't expand or adapt quickly. It took longer implementation cycles and eventually saw lower adoption across its users. Added to that, because of the variety of data that's coming in, we saw the rise of data stewardship because we wanted governance around the data, and also the ability to build some business context so everyone understands the data. But that was not enough. In recent years, we are seeing that the data catalog has to be active, has to be on at all times, and metadata is becoming a data itself, where you want to actively manage and allow collaboration for its various users so they can collaborate with other users across the platform, understand, and build applications based on the data that's available. So what is it that we need in the current business data catalogs? First, catalog is no longer restricted to structured data. It's no longer restricted to rows and columns, but it needs to have data of various types. It can be a dashboard, it can be a SQL, it can be just a link or a job, it can be anything. And to have that data, people can come and find it and use for anything that they want to take forward in their analysis. The next is metadata has to be on at all times. And the metadata can be searched, analyzed, and it has to be maintained like data itself. The third need is for it to be provide that end-to-end visibility and embedded collaboration for its users, so you know where it originated and where it's being used. And finally, it has to be API-driven, where your data platform can bring in the solution that you need, can build that integration between the services that they have, and also have that seamless capability for all the data users where they're able to find the data, understand it, and quickly switch to the tool that they want to use to continue the analysis. And that's why we built Amazon DataZone. This new service helps you bridge that gap between the data producers and the consumers. The data producers are the experts in data and own the data. And they have the autonomy to decide what data they want to share with the rest of the organization and how to enhance it and enrich it for everyone to understand it. And then comes the data consumers who can search, understand, and subscribe to the data and get approval from these data producers to use it for their analysis. And that builds this data flywheel where the data consumers can also become data producers. And this is what Amazon DataZone tries to do. It helps to bridge that handshake between the data producers and consumers. So let's see under the hood what capabilities are built in Amazon DataZone to provide that handshake that you need between the data producers and consumers. First is the domain. So what is a domain? Domain is nothing but how your teams are structured, who owns the data, who understands the data better, because that forms the container of showing the ownership of data and where the data is originating from. And in that domain, one of the foundational blocks is the business data catalog. The business data catalog helps you catalog all of the data, so anybody wanting to know if your organization has this data can go search for it and look for it in one single place. And when the data people want to collaborate, they form this container of projects and environments, which is pretty much tied to a business use case to collaborate with data, people, and tools, where all of your permissions and access is managed for the data that's been requested. And all this not without the governance and access control. You want to make sure the right data is accessed by the right person for the right purpose. And DataZone provides this governance and access control where the data producers get to know who's using what data for what purposes and also have control over how they can access data and continue their analysis. And all these capabilities are available from a data portal, which is like a central marketplace for all of your data, where all the data people can log in and go either be a producer where they can produce the data and share with the rest of the organization, or they can be the consumer and go search and find and also quickly switch to the tool of their choice from DataZone where they can continue the analysis. And goes without saying, if you don't want to use the portal, we also have APIs that helps you build the programmatic layer to integrate with your existing processes and also with the other services that you have in your platform. And today, we are going to dive deeper into the capabilities of the business data catalog because we are focusing on how can we make this data visible and accessible for all the users across the organization. So core themes that the data catalog provides from DataZone is first, you should be able to catalog all of your data. And in DataZone, you can actually catalog, bring in all the data that you have, and then the producer can decide if they want to publish it or not. And when I say publish, it actually means that once the data is published, anybody in the organization will be able to search it. But when it's an inventory, it is just a record for you to know that this data exists, and then it might not be time for you to publish it, so you can publish at a later time. And once you have the data cataloged, you can enhance it, enrich it, and augment it with so much of more information that it makes it valuable for all of these consumers looking to understand data. So think of going to Amazon.com. When you go look at a particular product page, you understand everything about the product before you make a decision whether you want to buy the product or not. Similar is the experience that we are looking for to provide all the data consumers who want to work with data and understand it and use it for their analysis. And added to that, we are focusing on introducing a lot of automation that alleviates the redundant manual work, which is very error-prone, and also speed up the process, because if your assets are tens or hundreds, you can still do things manually. But what if it becomes millions? It becomes unmanageable, and your data assets might be incomplete. So we are introducing a lot of automation capabilities that helps you build the context for the data so everyone understands it across the organization. Then comes the need to manage and maintain, and also make it visible across the organization. And for this, you have all the foundational blocks that helps you make an asset understandable, and also helps you build some standardization for the assets where everyone knows what to look for and also knows whether to trust the data or not. So I'll dive a little bit deeper into what those foundational blocks are, but DataZone provides you all these building blocks so you can build a catalog in a way that the data consumer can understand the data and work with it. Next is the embedded collaboration. So yeah, we have the data, we are publishing it, making it visible and accessible, but what are they going to do it? Like, how are they going to take it forward? Eventually, everyone wants to work with a tool of their choice, and they want to take it forward for their analysis. And how can we build that seamless workflow between searching, subscribing, and moving to the data, moving to the tool of their choice so they can work with data? So Amazon DataZone focuses on building that integrated experience so the consumers don't have to struggle in understanding a lot of technical capabilities, but focus more on the work that they have to do and switch the tool of their choice. All right, we spoke about the building blocks. Now let's take a look at it. So enterprise-wide business data catalog needs some foundational elements. First is the organizational domains. You want to organize your data in a way that everyone understands where the data is coming from, which team owns it, and also who's going to curate the data in a way that everyone understands it and trusts the data. Next is the business glossary that helps you standardize the lot of technical mumbo jumbo into business terms so everyone understands it in simple language. Metadata forms is something that we've introduced in Amazon DataZone, which gives you the power to bring some consistency for the assets that you want to publish. So think of, again, go to Amazon.com and look at, when you look at a product, you always look for the manufacturer details. You want to see who manufactured it, you want to see the product details. So those are the metadata forms that can be added to your assets so everyone knows what to look for when they're searching for an asset and understand where it's coming from and make a decision if this is the data that I want to work with. So that's the power that metadata forms gives the data producers while they're publishing an asset. And finally, metadata curation. You bring in a lot of technical metadata into DataZone, and the more you curate it, the more you enhance it with a lot of business information, the more information the consumer gets to make a very good judgment of whether they want to use the data for the analysis, is that even the right data for the analysis that they want to drive, and take it forward. So let's see. First is assets. You bring all the assets to DataZone, you catalog them, and now with DataZone, you not only can catalog the structured data, but also you can structure the variety of data that's available there, be it dashboard, SQL query links, and you can build the business workflow around them. Next is the business glossary, where we can standardize the terms across the teams, because an account for a marketing team means one thing, an account for a sales team can mean something else. So this helps you bridge that definition for what an account means. So when you know the data is coming from a particular team, you can understand it better. And finally, the metadata forms is what helps you dive a little bit more, add additional information. As an admin, you can determine what is it that you need as part of every asset that is being published, and make it available for all the publishers to bring it as part of an asset so they can have it and publish it. Like, think of a metadata form like ownership. So you can have who's the technical owner for the data and who needs to be contacted for more information. So you can have that information as part of the asset. So any consumer finding the data can go look up where it's coming from, whom to contact, and also reach out to the person if they want to learn more about the data. And all this that you're building across these assets, glossaries, metadata forms are searchable and helps you build filters in your search so you get the right subset of results for you to dive deeper. Yeah, this is just to quickly show what kind of assets you can catalog. So you are no longer limited to just the rows and columns structured data, but you can also now catalog a lot of the other types of data, be it an ML model, dashboard, SQL query, build it in the catalog, enrich with a lot of the business metadata around it so people can find it and take the dashboard that's already built to enhance it further for a particular business use case or an ML model for any further analysis. So this is how a particular asset will look like when a consumer searches in DataZone. First, you'll have the business name and description of the asset, so it helps any consumer to know what that asset is and what more details about the asset from the description. And then you have the glossary terms, classifying it or grouping them in a way that you can quickly search and understand the data, whether it's usable or whether you want to take forward for your analysis. Then is the technical metadata. You want to know where it came from. So this is derived from the source, and so the consumer can understand all the technical information about the data. And finally is the metadata forms, where you can standardize across all of the assets that are being published in the catalog. So everyone looking for data can go find it, understand it. And in this particular example, we see the ownership metadata form that gives you the details about the owner of the data. So if you have any questions, you know whom to contact to and not wonder which team do I have to reach out to. And of course, we have a versioning introduced in DataZone. So this helps you understand the versions and also know that which version you're using for your analysis. So all that we saw looked very manual, right? Like there's so much work that happens behind it. So what can we do to make it simplified? The first thing that we introduced in GA is the automation that helps you bring the technical metadata into the catalog. And we leverage the strengths of the AWS Glue to have those crawlers go to the technical metadata, bring it to us, and then we share it with the users or the producers who can build that business context around it. And then during GA, we also introduced the automated name generation for our assets and columns. So in a way that you don't have to manually go enter the business names for the assets or the columns, but DataZone takes care of it while you're ingesting to automate that name and for you to review and approve it if you think it's right, or edit it and make the work simple for you to enhance the description of the assets and the columns. And one thing that's coming cool tomorrow is look out for Adam's announcement, where we'll be sharing more information about the additional automation that's going to get introduced in DataZone. And this is one space that we are investing a lot, so a lot of the work, redundant work, can be eliminated, and a lot of automation can be infused, especially with all the GenAI capabilities that AWS offers. So now we saw with all these building blocks, we are able to bring data in. We are able to leverage the strengths of the Glue data catalog, where we are bringing the metadata from. And also, we leverage the richness of lake formation to provide a lot of the access permissions, and then have that applied to the data. So any team that's working together in a project can actually get access to the data, and as and when you add or remove people from the project, they either get access to the data or not have access to data, and then the consumers can share the data with their team members and do their analysis and also become producers at the end of the day. So now we saw what DataZone offers as a whole from capability perspective. So now let me invite Leo to show how it actually works in the product so you can see it work end to end.
Perfect. Thank you, Priya. Hi, everyone. Well, Priya just walked us through everything that DataZone offers related to data catalog. Now let's see how to do it. Let's see a demo. Let's see the service in action. Okay. Before starting with the demo itself, let me walk you through the use case. We have two personas in this case. We have two teams, the traffic team and the trials team. Why? Because we're going to analyze traffic ticket data. Okay, a very standard use case. So Julia, the data engineer, is the data producer. Okay, she wants to create her own business glossary or business glossary terms. She wants to document the data asset or the data set that she is about to publish. And also, she wants to publish the data. So once she harvests the metadata and she enriched that metadata with business information, she wanted to share it as part of the enterprise data catalog. And then we have Susan. Susan is a BI specialist, and she wants to build a dashboard. So the only thing that she wants, and it's very simple, is to search and identify the right data asset for her use case. In this case, could be a SQL query, could be a dashboard, and so on. And in the middle, of course, DataZone working to help data producers to document and produce data, and data consumers to find the right data asset and consume it. Okay, so let's go to the computer and see the demo. Okay, so let's start from the Amazon DataZone homepage. Okay, this is the data portal. Remember that DataZone offers an out-of-the-console experience. So the only thing that you need is, as a consumer, is a URL that is going to be generated by DataZone, and your users using SSO, they're going to be able to access the data portal. Okay, no IAM users, no IAM roles, just the data portal link and an SSO user, and you're going to be able to access this UI. Okay, so the first thing that we have to do is select the project that we're going to use to produce the data asset, and then go to the catalog. Okay, so here you can see 3 different options: a browse data catalog, glossaries, and metadata forms. So let's start with glossaries. Okay, so here you have all the business glossary. For this example, I create like 20. Okay, you can have even more. And you can see on the left side of the screen the list of the business glossary that we already create. So if I want to see the details about one specific business glossary, I just need to click on top of it, and you can see the description of the business glossary. Okay. Also, you can see the terms that are part of that business glossary with descriptions. Okay. If you want to go deeper on any of the terms, you can click on any of them, and you're going to see a README section. Okay. So as you can see here, you can put whatever information you want. So if you want to enrich the description of your business glossary term with some documentation that is going to help the consumers to understand the meaning of this term, you can do it. Okay. Also, you have the option to create relationships between terms. Okay, so for example, for this demo, we have Verdit, and also we associate that term with trials. Why? Because Verdit is part of a trial. But also, if you have 2 terms that they are very similar, you can associate both of them. Okay. Perfect. So what happened? Right now, we have just 20, or more than 25 business glossary. But in the future, you may have 100 or maybe 1,000. So if you want to search for a specific term, you can also use this search field that we have here, search for a specific term, and see the information. So if you see here, you can see the description. And if you want to enrich even more that business glossary term, as I mentioned before, you have the README and you have the README section, and also you can create relationships between different terms. Okay, this is the way to do it. Perfect. So we saw the list. We saw how to search for a specific data asset. Now let me show you how to create a business glossary. So we click Create. We put the name of the glossary, of course. In this case, it's going to be classification. And then we need to select the project that is going to be the owner of this business glossary. And then, of course, the description. And you have the option to create it enable or disable. In this case, I'm going to leave it enable, and I'm going to create the term, the glossary. So as you see here, the glossary is empty, so we need to start adding new terms. So for this demo, I'm going to add 4 terms. So for classification, in this case, the first one is going to be confidential. Okay, I'm going to put a description, and I'm going to create the term. And we're going to repeat this operation 4 times. Remember something, this is something that I'm doing manually right now, but you can automate this using the APIs. Okay, everything that is supported by the UI you can reproduce it using the APIs. Okay, so now we add a sensitive and restricted. Again, with the description. Perfect. So now we have our new business glossary term, as you can see here. Sorry, our new business glossary with all the terms. And all of them enabled. So you have the option to enable or disable terms depending on your use case. Okay. So now let's talk about metadata forms. Metadata forms are going to allow you to enrich your technical metadata with business metadata. So here, the thing that we're going to do, I'm going to show you in a minute, is to create a form that is going to be attached to your data asset in order for you to add business-related information. For this demo, I already created 2 that we're going to use during the rest of the demo, but also we are going to create a new one, a simple one, but just to show you how to do it. So as I mentioned before, you can customize your metadata forms in whatever way you want. So you can add a good number of different fields. Okay, so as you can see here, you have the data source, an example of usage, the data source, and so on. Okay, and something that you can do here is that you can create fields that could be a string, could be integer, it could be dates, but also, and this is the one that we are showing right now, a field that is, the type is glossary. What this means is that you can link this field to a glossary that you already create as part of your business glossary, okay? So how this works, the value that is going to be selected from to be part of this field, it should come from a business glossary term. Okay, you are going to see it in a minute as part of the demo, but just to let you know that metadata forms is one of the ways that you have to associate business glossary terms to a data asset. Okay? Perfect. So let's create our metadata form for this demo. We're going to add just 2 columns to make it fast. So here we're going to add data classification. We put the name, but also it's asking me for a technical name. Why is this? Because we may want to change or manipulate these metadata forms using APIs. And the technical name is the one that you're going to use when you are manipulating these metadata forms using the APIs. Okay? Perfect. So now we create the form. We need to add fields. So in this case, we are going to add 2, as I mentioned before. So we are going to put here approver name. This one is going to be the string type, okay, because we're going to put just a name there. Of course, a description. Remember that we need to document everything here. You have the option to put the maximum length and the minimum, okay, in case that you want to validate. And also, you have the option to make this field searchable and required. Searchable means that you can go, when your consumers try to find this data, a specific data asset, they can search by this field, okay? And required is that when you're documenting the data asset, you need to fill out this information in order to publish it, okay? So in this case, we're going to leave it just required for this field. And we are going to create a second one. And this one is going to be glossary based, okay? The example that I shared with you before. Again, the name, the business name, now the technical name, short description. Here on field type, you can see that I'm selecting a glossary. It's different from the other one that I select string. I have to select the glossary, in this case, the one that we just create, the business glossary. We have the option to allow to select multiple values if you want to. For this example, I'm going to leave it empty. And for this example, I'm going to select searchable, and I'm going to select also required. Okay? And I'm going to create the field. Something that you have to remember is after you finish your adding your fields, you need to enable the metadata form. Okay? So this is a way for you to have like a draft. Okay, you can finish the metadata form, and once you get the approvals or once you review it, is when you can enable it. Okay? Perfect. So now we are going to add business metadata to a data asset. So we already create the business glossary. We already create the metadata forms. Now let's document a data asset using this information. Okay, so the first thing that we have to do is we need to go to our project, the producer project, the one that is generating the data, and look for one of our undocumented data asset. Okay, for that I have to go to the data inventory, select the asset that I'm going to document. In this case, the name is traffic ticket. Okay. Perfect. So here, you have all the metadata from that data asset. If you notice on the top in the top part of the screen, you have a green notification on green. It says that Amazon DataZone generates automatically some recommendations about the metadata that we have here. Okay, we are going to see that in action in a minute, but just to let you know that there is what that notification about. Perfect. Here you can see this is the main page, okay, that you are going to document the data asset in a general way. So you have a README section similar to the business glossary term, but in this case at the asset level. So let's add information about this data asset and how to use it. Okay. So I copy and paste some information that I previously generate, but just to let you know that you can put here whatever you want, okay, to document your information, your data asset. Then I'm going to assign 3 business glossary terms to this data asset, okay? Why? Because I want to give more context to our data consumers, okay? And adding these business glossary terms, I'm going to help your consumers or our consumers to classify the data asset itself. So in this case, I select parking, okay, because this is a parking ticket table. I'm selecting now GPS data because it is one of the data sources, okay? And the last one, I'm going to select traffic police, okay, because it's the entity that is generating the data. Once you can select many more. For this example, to make it short, I select just 3, and then you can add your glossary terms. So as you can see here, we already have our README section, and now we have our glossary terms. Okay, and if you go over each term, you are going to see the description. After that, here you have the first metadata form. This one comes from default, and I call it the technical metadata form. This one comes from the glue table. It was harvested from the glue table that we used to gather the metadata for this data asset. You have here, for example, the S3 location of the asset. You have also the database, the glue database that this table belongs to, and so on. Also, you have a business metadata form called ownership that we added to this data asset when we harvest the metadata, okay, in which you are going to have the information related to the owner of the data asset. And you have the option to add more metadata forms if you want to. So let's add the one that we create in the previous part of the demo. In this case, data classification. Okay, it's there. It's now part of my data asset. I'm going to put the approver name. In this case, Sam Smith. And then the privacy classification. Okay, let's select public, if I'm not mistaken. So if you see, public came, because I link this field with a business glossary, I was able to get the list of the terms. Okay, so it's a way for you to standardize the terms that are going to be used across your different data assets. Okay, and then we save it, and now the general part of the general information of our data asset is complete. Okay, so as I mentioned before, we have on the top we have a green message that let us know that DataZone detect that it has some recommendation to improve the quality of our metadata. Okay, so for that we need to go to the schema section. Okay, let me show you. A second. Perfect. And here you can see in all the columns that are part of this data asset, and you are going to see a green icon next to each column. This means that DataZone detect from the technical metadata, from the technical name of the column, it was able to understand or identify a better option, a human-readable option for that column. Okay, so here, if you see the last one, the technical name was location 1 with a number. So DataZone detect that and improve it by adding location space 1. Instead of using numbers, a letter, more human readable. Again, this is a very simple example, but DataZone is able to make recommendations based on complex technical names. Okay? Perfect. So imagine that you like all the information that or the recommendations from DataZone. The only thing that you have to do is go to the green notification that we got and accept all of them. Okay. Here you have the confirmation button, and that's it. But something that is important here to mention is that we are improving the business metadata. The technical name of that column, in this case on the glue catalog, is going to remain the same. Okay? We're changing the data from the business context point of view, or changing the metadata from the business context point of view. Okay? So that is the first change that we implement at the column level. But what happened? Here you have the option to add a business-related description to each column, and also you have the option to assign a business glossary terms to each column if you want to. So if you see, in the previous screen, we add business glossaries using metadata and also metadata forms, and also at the general level. Here we are adding business glossary terms at the column level. So here we have the column officer. I'm not going to put any description for this example, but I'm going to add a business glossary term. Okay? In this case, police officers, or traffic police, sorry. Perfect. And now I'm going to save it. So as you can see here, now that term is associated to that specific column. Let's do it once more to show you a different example here. Okay, in this case for set fine amount. Same procedure. In this case, we're going to look for fine. We're going to select one of our business glossary terms, and we're going to assign it to the column. So if you see now, you have 2 columns associated to terms, But as I mentioned before, you can add it to each column, and also you can add descriptions to every single one of them. Okay? Perfect. So what happened now? Once we have all the information complete, once we add all the business context that we want to our data asset, we can proceed, we can go and publish the data asset. Okay, we click this button, and we are going to receive a notification or a confirmation message if we really want to publish that data asset. Okay, let's do it. Okay, we say yes. And now we have to wait a couple of seconds to get the asset published. What publish means is that that asset now is going to be, everybody that has access to the data catalog is going to be able to search for this specific data asset. Okay? Now, let me show you how to search from the consumer point of view, or from the consumer side, for a data asset and request access to it. Okay? So for that, the first thing that we have to do is change the project. I'm able to change projects because I have an admin user for this demo, okay? But in real life, you are going to have access just to the project that you really have access to, okay? So as you can see here, this project is subscribed to 0 assets. So let me show you how to change that. The first thing that I have to do is go to the search bar and look for a specific keyword. In this case, we are going to look for tickets. Okay? So here you have a list of different assets related to the word ticket. But you have the option to apply filters on top of your search. So in this case, I'm going to search by the assets that are related to traffic police. Okay? So if I click traffic police, now the result list it was narrowed down to just one, okay? And that was just one filter, but you can also filter by the type of asset, Redshift or Glue, for example. You can also filter by the project that is the owner of the data asset as well, okay? Once we identify the asset that we want to go deep and see if and it is the right one, you click on top of it, and it takes you to the general information page. So as you can see here, you can see the business glossary the README section that was added by the data producer. Okay, you can also see the metadata forms that were added as part of when we were documenting the data asset. Okay. And also you can see the business glossary terms that were associated to each columns. Okay? So as you see, as a consumer, you can come here and get all the information that you need in order to identify if this is the right data asset or not. Once I identify that I want to consume this data asset, the only thing that I have to do is click subscribe and start the subscription process. Okay, perfect. So with that, we conclude the demo. So we already saw what DataZone offers, how to do it, and now Gwen is going to walk us through how customers are adopting DataZone. Thank you.
Thanks, Leo. I'm excited to share with you NATA's story of what can be unlocked when you start using a data catalog. If you weren't able to join our data governance session this morning, I'm excited to introduce you to NATA for the first time. We're a healthcare company focused on genetic testing in the organ health, oncology, and women's health spaces. We use cell-free DNA to answer specific health questions for patients, clinicians, and families. Data is incredibly important to us. It helps us answer questions and frame new ones that our patients don't know to ask yet. It's been a great time to be in this space, bringing value to patients and transforming lives. We've been growing rapidly to new verticals, new business models, new products. Every new year, we seem to have found a new place where information helps transform treatment decisions and inspire new treatment paths for incredibly painful conditions. As a company, this growth is awesome, and it brings us challenges. As we grow and expand, we also grow and expand the amount of data we have. It's a new set of resources, tons of information to make sure that we keep safe our patients' trust and information. As we add that data, we see many different data types come in. It's tough to understand what did it look like yesterday, 2 months ago, 2 years ago. Is this the same resource that I'm looking at? We're at the cutting edge of technology for genetics, but also in the data space. We're excited to use new technologies and bring them into our tool stack. But that also comes with growth for our people, opportunity to try new things, figure out what are these technologies and do they work for us. As you grow your tool stack, you have a learning curve of how to use all these new resources. I often hear from our team that they know the data is there and the tools exist. I should be able to do this, but how do I connect it all? That connection is important in our complex data and our complex ways of accessing it. Trying to find what is this called and how does it relate to everything else. Challenges our team to make sure that we can innovate. As I've heard from our organization, what are the challenges with data? What do you need to be successful and power our growth? We found that a data catalog is the path forward for our organization, ensuring that we can provide the information in the terms that our team understands, not just the technical or scientific terms that are useful from the producing teams. In the healthcare space, data privacy, patient information protection is critical. We need to continue our commitment to privacy and have access to the data for innovation while maintaining trust. At times, that can feel like it's at odds with self-service access. We need to protect and make accessible the data so that we can move forward. That self-service access and being able to use the data that is available and correct for that user will help us power data collaboration, where we can see the same picture because we have access to the same information. For NATA, that data catalog solution has been DataZone. We're excited to power our transformation towards a data mesh infrastructure using this catalog, taking information from our producers, using a standard data pipeline to pull it into storage, using Glue, making that technical information or metadata available to the data catalog, where we can add additional context and access it through the data portal. From there, having the data is not enough. If I have a book on the shelf, but I've never read it, is it adding value? Is it helping you push forward? Once we have the information in our data catalog, we need to be able to consume it, to use it to answer our data questions. And for us, this is an easy integration with Redshift, QuickSight, Athena, and other tools. This is a tool stack, but a data catalog is one piece of the puzzle. We also need to make sure the process is in place to bring in this information to be useful. Leo showed us a great way to import the technical metadata through the glue job and add additional business context so that that data catalog is serving up the information users need. Let's move from theory to some practice. What have we seen since we've implemented this tool? It's been exciting to reduce the search time looking for data. We know what assets are there, and we can find them. It's very different from when we started our transformation, hearing, where is it? What is it? I don't know what data set this is. It's easy to use that data. Can find it and start to answer my business questions, going directly into QuickSight so I can share with others. We have repeatable patterns for bringing in those data assets. Every time we grow, and we're looking to grow and grow and grow, we'll be able to do this in a repeatable fashion so that we don't miss out on the data we're creating. We can add business context. Teams have started to understand each other because they have a shared language, a shared place to say, this is the technical term and how it meets the business need. More than agreeing on language, they also have a direct relationship fostered through that tool, where consumers can start to ask for data they need or that they will need and have a direct line to who makes that data. Last, continuing our commitment to privacy and access. We're excited about the strong access controls DataZone gives us to be able to tune what data people can see to the right role. We're at the initial phase of our rollout. We're excited about the transformation we're seeing. And in partnering with DataZone, we're excited about where this can go. As I said earlier, having data isn't enough. Being able to see a book is on the shelf is great. We want to be able to use this data in our catalog. Integrating with Snowflake for NATA would bring in more data sources that we can search, understand, and leverage in a more powerful way. Simplifying permissions, making it easy to use our data, we're excited to leverage this and roll it out to the business where you can set up a dashboard once you find that data really quickly. Integrating with SageMaker will power our data science team to be able to pull in more powerful models and leverage those access controls to make sure we're training on the right data. I'm excited about where DataZone is taking us and leveraging a tool as part of our transformation. There are also people and processes in place to help power this. Ultimately, this is about making information accessible. I'm going to hand it off to Priya to wrap us up.
Thanks, Gwen. That's exciting to hear about NATA and the solution that you're building, and can't wait to partner with you for your next steps. All right, so now that we discussed the challenge, the solution, the capabilities, do you see the light at the end of the tunnel where you want to make data available and accessible to all the users across your organization? So DataZone strives to do just that. We want to make it super simple for all of your data producers to make data accessible and discoverable for all of the users across the organization. And similarly, for data consumers to be able to find, understand, and make the best judgment to take it forward for their analysis. And DataZone plugs into the data governance. So if you've noticed, we had the panel earlier today, and also a series of sessions that dives deeper into each of the governance pillars. And with DataZone, you can make data easily findable, accessible, and shareable while keeping it safe and secure. And also with the governance and access controls that DataZone provides, you can also build a lot of auditing and compliance reports. With that, I would like to just wrap up by sharing all the sessions that we have. I know some of you showed interest in Redshift access controls. So we have a whole lot of sessions, chalk talks, and workshops that are aligned to different capabilities of DataZone. And feel free to attend them or reach out to us for more questions. And data governance is people, process, and tool. DataZone fits into the tool, but first we need to understand how the people and process works. And for that very reason, we introduced a masterclass that has a series of videos where we have a service leader sharing the best practices that he has observed of what works and how to establish that people and process to make DataZone successful. With that, I would like to share the superhero, if you're following that at this conference. And now I would like to open it for question and